watching the It's Her Time podcast with Cody and Jess. Hi, welcome back to the It's Her Time podcast. My name is Cody Sanders, and I'm a holistic health practitioner and functional nutritionist. Now, we want our lifespan to be balanced with an extended health span. We want a future with reduced illness and age-related issues. Now, if you're like me, we want to spend time with our loved ones and maintain our independence well into our golden years. That is what we call aging gracefully. Now, on today's episode, I have invited Dr. Mani to talk with us about how to be aware of what agers are and what we should be aware of and how they affect how and when our bodies age. Now, Dr. Mani is an integrative health expert who helps her clients optimize their gut health, immunity, and healthy aging. I can't wait for you to meet her, but before we do, let's go into a Mixhers Girl Say. Okay, for today's Mixhers Girl Say, I thought it would be really fun to talk about birthdays and just kind of our perceptions on aging. Now, this week, I'm excited because I am turning 50 in just 2 days, and I get so many different responses from people when I tell them that I'm excited about turning 50 and that I'm like looking forward to this next decade. I actually honestly think it's going to be like my decade, like the best decade ever. And it just brings up a lot of conversation from people, different ages in different stages. And they all have different feelings about like what birthdays mean for them, whether they even like birthdays or not, and how they personally feel about aging. So I thought it would be fun to just kind of have this cute little young one over here, Riley. How old are you, Riley?
So young. I'm 23.
She's just a baby. Just
almost
a baby.
To 50.
I know.
Almost to 50.
Yeah.
Watch
hey,
out.
halfway
I'm
there.
coming for you.
Halfway there, almost. Yeah, I mean, it's just fun. We have a lot of age range in our office, and I love that. But I'm like the grandma.
No,
like I am.
yeah,
I am. I'm the oldest one.
She's the youngest at heart.
I am. I'm the most immature, but I am definitely.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, that's what you meant. And young at heart. But yeah, I've just always been somebody that loves birthdays. Like I will throw my own birthday party just because I think it's so fun. And it's not really about me wanting to get presents or have people give me a lot of attention. Instead, I just love celebrating life. I love bringing the people in my life that I love and have the most fun with together. And I love to just have an excuse to have a party. And so I love birthdays. And I tell everybody, I'll be like, it's my birthday. So I'm telling you, it's my birthday. And so I'm just excited because I think it's just fun. Once a year, we all have one. But there's so many people that I know that are embarrassed about telling people that it's their birthday. And they're also embarrassed about telling people what their age is. Have you ever felt like that? Are you too young?
I feel like, not yet, but I'm sure one day maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I hope I never get that way.
Yeah.
And I love my birthday right now. I think it's great. I don't know.
Do you celebrate your birthday? Do you go big?
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to learn what I need to do for my birthday because I do not like to plan my own birthday, but I feel like my family and like my husband, they're not ones to be like, let's throw you this party or let's go do this and this. So last year I actually had a funny story where it was my birthday and my husband's like, okay, what are we going to do for your birthday? And I'm like, I don't know, just plan something. He's just not very good under those circumstances. So he was like, okay, you're going to need to plan something. Like you just tell us what you want to do and we'll go do it. So I'm like under this pressure all of a sudden because I'm like, I got to make my birthday great. So we go to a VR place like down the street, me and my brother and my husband, like virtual reality.
Okay,
have you ever heard of that?
I'm too old to know that, I guess.
Virtual reality.
Okay.
And the pictures looked really cool. There's like a couch. You can all like play together. So I call my brother. I'm like, you want to go play virtual reality for my birthday? So me, my husband, and my brother go. It is so like run down. There are curtains in between all of the different people and they separate you. You're not even with your friends. So we were each in our own individual like headset and microphones. And I got so sick during it. It was like a 2 hour
motion sickness.
Yes, that I sat down on a chair and you could like hear your other friends talking. Yeah. So they're like, Riley, are you having fun? And I just felt bad. So I was like, yeah, I'm having so much fun. Really, fun. I'm sitting on the chair on my phone because I'm sick from the VR. And so after that experience, I was just like, that was no one's fault but my own. Like, I need to let them know, like, I need you to plan this for me or plan my own killer birthday party. Yeah. And so I feel like I'm I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I know what I want for my birthday and I just need to like go for it, you know?
Yeah. And it's not virtual reality or
it's
VR.
Not virtual reality. This year was a lot better. So I love my birthday now after that experience.
Yeah. No, it's a lot of, I love it when people throw me parties and that's super fun. But I also don't have that expectation that like people should have to do that. And so, you know, I know it sounds fun and sometimes it's a big party. Sometimes it's just like, I just want to be with my family and I want to just do something relaxing. It just changes. Yeah. So it's so fun. So how do you feel about aging?
I think it's amazing. I think honestly, Mixhers has kind of changed my view on all of that a little bit more. Because at Mixhers, we just kind of teach that like every stage of womanhood is something that you need to enjoy. You should enjoy. You deserve to enjoy it. And so I feel like it's changing things a little bit for me because I'm like, there are ways that you can enjoy every stage of womanhood. So let's figure it out. And it's so fun, like all of the new things that come with like your new ages. And I don't know, I think it's so cool. And there's always more opportunities the older you get. So I love that about Mixhers. I feel like I've learned so much just about myself and how to like be happier in my own body and my own skin, you know? So I love it.
Nothing makes me happier than hearing this. I truly was not expecting that to be her answer, but I love that because I hope that like, oh my gosh, I could gush on and on about stuff. My hope in Mixhers is to bless women of all ages and stages of their life, but especially those that are younger. I want women, these girls that are coming into womanhood to like love their bodies and love being women and love the whole process of life. And I just think when we feel healthy, then we do live life to the fullest. Totally. And it truly, we can be healthy no matter what age we are, as long as we're taking care of our bodies, we're giving our bodies those important nutrients that are the building blocks of our health. I mean, it's so important. And you know what? I just say never grow up. We can't help but get older, but we don't necessarily have to grow up. We can always have, you know, fun and be spontaneous and open to new, you know, chances to learn and opportunities. And I think that's what life is all about. And that's
Absolutely.
I love aging. Yeah.
I agree.
Fun.
Can't wait for you to turn 50, Cody.
You guys, it's going to be so fun. Best decade ever, right? I'd love to hear what you think. What age are you? What was your best decade? I'd love for you guys to contact us through either the comments underneath the episode or reach out to us on social media. That's a great place to reach us.
We dare you.
We dare you. All right, let's jump into the episode.
Mixhers is a company made for women by women. Each of our products have been carefully and lovingly crafted to support you in all stages of your life, providing you with the optimal health you deserve. Each ingredient we handpick is 100% all natural, backed by science, and chosen specifically to better your life physically, mentally, and hormonally. Each product empowers your body to take charge of its monthly hormonal shift and flows, empowering you to live life to the fullest. Let Mixhers take care of your needs from sunup to sundown, and you take care of the rest. Check us out at mixhers.com, Mixhers.
Dr. Mani, I'm so excited for our audience to just hear from you today and to get into this conversation that is important for all of us to think about, to talk about, and to consider no matter what age we're at or what, you know, phase of life we're in. We're all aging and we're all about taking the best care of ourselves so that we can optimize our aging process and feel our best always. So will you please just say hello to our audience? Tell us a little bit about your background and about why we're going to be diving into this conversation together.
Cody, first of all, I'm very glad to be here and I can't wait into the discussion that we'll dive in. Thank you for having me. So my name is Dr. Mani Kukreja, and I am an integrative health and wellness practitioner. So my practice is called Live Age Well. It's all about health optimization. It is to help my clients to reset their body, you know, in order to basically live up to their full potential. You know, it's not about, you know, their lifestyle. It's about their health from functional and wellness point of view, so that they can live up to their full potentials, you know. So just because, you know, I mean, all of us in midlife, which is around 30 to 35, we all start to see that shift or decline in our overall health. But, you know, it shouldn't be like this. You know, it's all about, with so much advancement in therapy, with so much information awareness, and stem cell therapy, PCP, red light therapies, hot and cold exposure, saunas, detoxification. We are now equipped, humans, we all are equipped with so much information better than ever, that we can actually really dive into that health optimization. And there is no need for that midlife dip or decline. We can live up to our full potential. We can have the best of energy, improved focus, deeper sleep, less body fat, and we can have peak performance. So that's what I basically help my patients, my clients comprehensively.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yes. And about my background, my education, I am traditionally trained. I'm an MD. But my focus, my interest was always about the prevention of the disease. In medical training, our traditional training is all about basically treating the symptoms. It's more like a bandage approach, but that's not what I was interested in. I always wanted to study the progression of the disease, the prevention of the disease. So you can actually eradicate the disease from the root cause. And that's what the functional approach is about. And that's what I wanted to study more. So after my MD, I dived deeper and invested into my education further. I did my master's in public health from Tulane University, New Orleans. I studied a double master's in clinical research and epidemiology. And for, right after my master's, I was the director of the clinical research department, and I studied the disease, chronic disease mainly, diabetes, cancer, mainly these two diseases. And what I saw during the time of that research, paper after paper, data after data, it always indicated that, once we do suffer from the disease, the progression and the decline is sometimes so steep that it is hard to control. But if you are equipped with right strategies and right tool, it's really, it's not that difficult to basically prevent the disease, because all these diseases of aging, just like cancer, diabetes mellitus, or obesity, Alzheimer, they all are preventable disease. We can prevent them if we are equipped with the right tool and right strategies. So I studied those diseases, and then when I had my medicine, I had my MPH, I had my experience. So, and also my personal experience of having suffered from autoimmune Hashimoto's disease, and how I took control of that disease by myself rather than going to other practitioners, because that wasn't helping me. So the collection of all those in my arsenal of tools, I was very confident to open my virtual practice. It's a platform called Live Age Well, where I virtually see my patients and clients, and I help them to reset their health, whether it's their gut health, skin health, hormonal health, basically overall health.
Holistic health. It's amazing. So,
holistic, yes.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you shared all of this information with our listeners, because I know that it qualifies you specifically to be able to really dive into some of these exciting topics and just this overall topic. It's amazing. You have a wealth of knowledge, and I am excited because these are things that we love to talk about and have conversations about in this community. The listeners to this podcast, they're here to learn about how to optimize their health and to help to optimize their life so that they can make the most of their time here. And so this is so fun. I know you, I was reading a little bit about you, and you are 50 years old. And I loved a little quote that I read. It says that you say, "I'm healthier, happier, and more successful, mentally sharper, and more physically fit than ever before." Now, you said that your biological age is 28 years, that you did a test that's called the glycan age. And even though, I love that you said this too, even though you're proud of your chronological age, which means the number of birthdays that you've had or celebrated as of now, because birthdays and getting older, it brings with us a lot of wisdom, and we learn a lot of things emotionally and physically. We become stronger and smarter. But I love that you are able to show that, like, the things that we're going to talk about today have truly been amazing, powerful tools that have helped you to, yes, chronologically age, but also in a way, like, make sure that you are aging as best as possible. And I think that's so exciting, because that's what I want too. When this episode airs, it'll be the week of my 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
So
Congratulations.
thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one of my biggest goals is I want to live and really live. And what that means for me is, having the energy, having the mental capacity, having, just that ability to be able to function through late into my years, through the rest of my life. And that's the goal. There's a saying that I love to share a lot of times is that with modern technology, with modern medical advances, more people are living longer these days, but truly, are they actually living, or is it more that they are dying longer because they might just be, being sustained, but not in the most ideal state? Would you agree?
Which I truly agree. Aging is basically, just to define aging, it's a complicated topic. You can't really define unless you speak about it for a longer time, But just to say that in a simpler terms, aging is basically a very complex biological process in which there's a gradual wear and tear of every single cell, organ, and system of the body, right? And that over time, it happens all over time. And that decline actually leads to number of age-related diseases and therefore reduction in your lifespan. So many there, if you see, our research arsenal is full of so many studies. There are aging scientists, there are researchers who have very conflicting information and, concepts that some says that aging is basically something that has been coded in your genes, you're born with those codes. And some says that it's all, environmental, all the factors around you, which includes lifestyle factors. That includes, nutrition, sleep, and exercise, and environmental toxins all around us. Some of us are basically loaded with the exposure of so many toxins. If you see, there are around 700,000 toxins all around us. They are present in the form of EMF around our phones, UV radiation, pesticides, which contain glyphosate and causes cancer-inducing risk factors. And then our palettes, in our makeup and skincare. And then the air contains so many toxins, our antibiotics, alcohol, smoking, and we have mercury in our, and heavy metals in water, cadmium, arsenic, mercury. We are full with the exposure of all these toxins all around us, in our environment. So it's inevitable, but we need to know how to keep us protected and detoxify us. So basically, some scientists said it's genetic main cause of aging, and some said it's all environmental and lifestyle related. But the good news is that, when they came to a consensus, because if it had been genetic only cause of aging, we all would be aging with the same pace. You, me, people around us, all of us would be basically aging with the same pace, but that's not true. Some of us, even in 60 years, are living a very healthy life. And some of people in even 30 years are basically seeing that decline in their performance and decline in their overall health. So genetic doesn't seem to be right? So when they came to a consensus, it was decided that it's only 20% genetic and 80% lifestyle and environmental causes of aging. So, and it's all, aging, basically aging is not the cause of mortality. Aging is not the cause for our death, right? It's the age-related diseases accompanying which causes, morbidity and mortality. Morbidity means number of diseases and its complication, and mortality means finally you're dying because of that disease complications. So if we know that it's the age-related disease which are the main complexity and which is the main cause of death, it's easy to basically prevent those, because all those diseases of aging, all these metabolic diseases of aging like diabetes, obesity, cancer, Alzheimer's, all those diseases are preventable. So we can prevent them. Only that you need to know what you've got to do, and you need to optimize your health. So that's why I said that's a definition of aging. And there are many things that you can do. And especially in the modern world, there is so much advancement. People are even living with age of 80, 85, and they're living very healthy, optimized life. So it's just not about the lifespan, that the number of years that you live on this earth. It's all about the health span. You need to have a healthy lifespan. That's called health span. So that when you are in the later stage of your life, you are basically able to do your own work independently. You are basically able to play. You're able to go to exercise. You're able to do your day-to-day chores. So that is what you call healthy, nice health span. So it's basically all about optimization in order to balance your health span and your lifespan.
Which is what it's all about. And that's absolutely what my goal is. I'm sure that's what most of our goals are, is to be able to have that healthy lifespan, but with a health span that matches. And, I think it's very hopeful when we hear about the study of epigenetics, like you just explained so well, that 80% of, the effect of how we age and how we feel as we age is affected by our lifestyle factors and how we use these powerful tools that we're going to get into today to help to support our body's natural functions. And that's what this is all about is, I can share a lot of things. I love studying healthy aging. I love studying the blue zones. There's great, documentaries that are out there. There's great books out there that study the people that live the longest and what they all have in common. And I think that it's something that's so fascinating. I've been lucky to be able to watch my mom. She's an amazing example. She's 82 years old. She's always stayed very active. She's always had a very positive outlook on life, is always eager to learn and try new things. She just recently had to go in and have shoulder replacement surgery, and she's had knee replacement surgeries for both knees. But the reason that she needed these was because she plays too much tennis. But the doctors that visited with her and they're taking her health history, they were amazed that, first of all, that she lived alone as an 82-year-old and that she is not on any medications and that she is still she has a career. She's learning and contributing to society. She's taking care of, our family that's, lives around us. And she's just such an example. And that's what's possible. And then I know people that are, and this is, I know there's circumstances and I don't want to sound judgmental, but I pay attention and I'm observing. There's people that are at the same age that are very debilitated, that are, stuck at home and they are in need of care from others. So they don't have that independence that I feel is so valuable. So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate, I just think that this is such an interesting topic and everything you shared was so interesting. I want to get now into what are some of the things, these powerful tools that we can help to support us as we age so that we can be in our 80s, 90s, and beyond even maybe feeling our absolute best.
First of all, kudos to your mom. She's 82 and she plays and she is in such a high spirit. And I love that. Such a great thing to be proud of, So you have good genes, definitely, Cody. So you're covered from that 20% perspective, and 80% definitely. I mean, you know what you're doing, right? So
Yeah.
that's really good. So getting to your point, I know it's a lot to talk about, but in this period of 40 minutes, what we can talk, I think food first approach is paramount. Because there is nothing else if you have a very well balanced and optimized nutrition and food, because your body sustains on food, your nutrition. So food first approach is my first go-to. If you're eating well balanced food, non-processed food, and no trans fat, less sugar, high protein, you are anyway you've already crossed that number one step of being at level of your where you should be. So food first approach, eat balanced diet, rich of phytonutrients, and take care of your protein, which is so important. And I especially tell that to my women clients. Women has a natural tendency to ignore protein and to ignore on the exercise, Plus, I know that because of the hormonal decline, they are more in need of that muscle mass building, so resistance training along with combination of protein is such a paramount, non-negotiable, because women right from the age of 40 when your hormone starts to decline. Some people think that, okay, I'm still okay because by around 50 or 52, when I get my menopause, that's the time when I need to when I need to pay attention to my hormonal health. But that's not true. I mean, I have seen more than 50% of the people, starting from the age of 40, they are onto the decline of that, bone mass, muscle mass, and general weakening, frailty, fatigue, and brain fog, and especially the joint stiffness, especially shoulder joint, is so common because of the perimenopause and because of the estrogen deficiency. So the perimenopause is around about 10 years before your menopause. Menopause is when you kind of just totally shut down on your menses and your women's whole cycle. 1 year after that, you declare yourself that, your menopause. But 10 years before is called the years of perimenopause, where you see so many drastic changes in the symptoms, and people just think that it's just natural. I mean, it's because of the aging, but it's all because of the hormones. So that is something that should not be neglected. Get to your PCPs and to your practitioners who are specialized in hormonal health, and start getting to have knowledge of the hormonal replacement therapy, the bioidentical hormonal replacement therapy, because it's not that they are going to give you the boost of estrogen, progesterone exactly how you had at the age of your teenage or when you were 20. It is just a little bit nudge, just a very slight boost, what you should have at the age of 40, 42, 45, and 50. And that is really needed. Sometimes this area gets so unnoticed, underdiagnosed, and understudied that it just goes into the into that area of neglection, and that it should not be. It's a very important thing for women, and they should be always very, very careful and very attentive about their hormonal health.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So, and it all goes together, hand in hand. Like when I say, okay, food first approach, but then I could not ignore exercise. I had to include along with the food, exercise, because they both go hand in hand. And then I could not just not talk about hormonal health. So it's all together. It's just so many tools in the arsenal. And it's just not one foundation, second foundation, third foundation, fourth. It's all is merged and intermixed with each other. You need to have all those foundations right and optimized in order to have the best health. So food and exercise, make sure that you are definitely, I know high intensity exercise is very important. It's important for endurance. But if you do not have time, I would rather do the resistance training and weight training if I'm after the age of 40, post 40 years of age, because exercise is the elixir of youth. Because when you exercise, number one thing, what you do is that all these sugar, when we eat food, there's so much sugar all around, in our bloods, So the insulin get into action. The insulin is produced from the beta cells of pancreas. And they kind of just go and act on the receptors of the cells, and they open the channel for the cells to absorb the sugar. So there is no free floating sugar in the blood. That's what insulin does. But when insulin does that at a very aggressive level and all the time, it gets tired. You become, at some point of time in your life comes that you become insulin resistant, that much insulin is constantly working, and one time it's so much exhausted that you become insulin resistant. And that's the stage of prediabetes, which will lead to diabetes later in your life. So by exercising and by making muscles, your muscle health is so important for your metabolic health. If you have good amount of muscle, your muscle acts like a disposal for all that extra glucose, which is actually going through and floating through your blood. And when there's so much extra glucose all the time floating through your blood and going to all the organs and to the end destinations wherever it has to go in order to perform the function of the cell, it's also carrying all that glycation. It's causing the glycation of all those organs, and that glycation is not good for you. That causes inflammation. And we all know that inflammation is the root cause of aging. Aging, the inflammation, oxidation, and inability to detoxify in an optimized manner. These are the three causes of age-related diseases and aging. So acute inflammation is one thing. We all know that because when your immune cells are active, you go through acute inflammation, and that's very protective for your body. But there's something called chronic inflammation, because when you're inflamed chronically at all the time, that becomes a chronic inflammation, and that chronic inflammation is what causes aging.
Yes.
That's why I say muscle is such an important organ from metabolic health perspective. It
So
acts
true.
it acts as a disposal for all that extra glucose, so that you don't have that constant glucose rush and glycation.
So
Plus
important.
also,
Sorry, I just wanted to say, because
no,
I'm a
go ahead.
visual person, and the way that I describe this is the more muscle we have, the muscle actually works like a sponge as well. Like if you can picture
Exactly.
that, it sucks that all up, and muscle is our longevity organ. So I love that you're talking about this, because I agree. It is the youth, the fountain of youth is muscle. And
Yes.
so focusing on that, ladies, I know that we drive this home a lot on this podcast, but I love how you're diving into why and how it is actually helping to support you with healthy aging.
Right. And especially to know, if you look at statistics, Cody, after the age of 40, there is a natural 5 to 8% decline in muscle mass with every decade. That's a huge number. It's a huge decline. So if you don't do anything to counteract that decline, it's going to be just leading to that constant dip in your health.
Yeah.
So it's needed for glucose disposal. It's needed for that extra fat disposal, because all the fat that you eat, but when you exercise, you use all those extra fat, so that fat doesn't sit in your body, doesn't deposit around your centripetal or your the triers in your central trunk area, and also this extra fat, which doesn't get utilized by your body, it gets stored. Body has tendency to store that extra fat in the form of the plaques in arteries. When those arteries are in the organs, like heart, it causes atherosclerosis. When those arteries or blood vessels get compromised because of the plaque formation in kidney, it causes nephropathy. When it happens in the brain, it causes stroke. And those are all deadly diseases. So you don't have to have that extra fat being stored around your viscera, and you don't want to have that extra fat being stored in the form of plaque formation in the blood vessels of the important end organs. So that's why there's nothing that works as good as exercise. Exercise is basically, in simple term, is like a elixir of youth. Not only that, even for brain, even for, when you exercise, there's a study that I wanted to discuss here. There's a study that actually compare the exercisers versus non-exercisers, because when you exercise, we all know we produce lactate. All right. And this lactate is not bad. I know when lactate is too much, it's bad, obviously. When it's in its optimal desired amount, it's not bad, because that lactate is used by the brain cells. And it's used by the brain cells so that brain cells get their fuel from that lactate, and they generate BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factors, which is like a happy neurotransmitters. It's an elixir of youth. It's something that you need for being happy and for that youth factor. And also, so there was a study done in exercisers versus non-exercisers, case versus control study. People who constantly and who were involved with all that culture of exercise, and they were athletes, they had much more strength as compared to their counterparts of the same age and around the same statistics, who just did not do exercise. So because of exercise, they had lactate, right? This lactate is a precursor. When this lactate goes into your gut, it gets converted into short chain fatty acid, and that is called propionate. And that propionate is a very, very important short chain fatty acid in your gut, which actually increase or boost your strength, particularly. when this was compared to the non-exercisers, they did not have propionic acid to be doing the function of that particular short chain fatty acids, what propionic does. So lactate is very important, and that gets produced as a result of exercising.
So many great benefits. I mean, I think that should hopefully motivate us to make this a priority of moving your body and especially building your muscle, every single day. So huge.
And a very important tip goes along. I just tell, it's not a complicated thing. Well, just if you are sedentary all the time, start with moving a bit. Always start slow. Start walking. And if you love walking, then start jogging and then running. You have to go through that curve. Just move slow. And then decide about your goal, what you want to do. I mean, if you really love whatever kind of exercise, just move your body. There are so many clients who have this complaint that they are CEOs or executives and they're busy,
Right.
But there's always you should find a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a study, it's called VILPA. It's a kind of exercise technique or protocol. Is called VILPA, VILPA. And the full form is vigorous intensity lifestyle physical exercise. So they say that this study, what it actually discovered that, even if you're busy, but if you are indulging into 1 to 3 minutes of this vigorous intensity exercise only 3 times a day, where you bring your max heart rate to 80%. It is so good for your body. It decreases your all-cause mortality by 30 to 40%.
Amazing.
which is amazing.
It's huge
because it was a huge finding in this study. So maximum heart rate for people who do not know is 220 minus their age. Mm-hmm. That becomes the MHR, maximum heart rate.
And for women, you would actually use 226 minus your age. Yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. That's actually good to know because thank you for telling me, because I always thought that just to remember that general term, 220 minus. Okay. So for women, 226 minus minus your age. So that gives you a maximum heart rate. So always your aim should be, if you are highly athletic, your aim should be to bring your heart rate to 80% of your max HR in order to get the max benefit.
Yeah, it's amazing. And if you can get those numbers, they're very powerful so that you can be very strategic in the way that you are moving your body to get the most effect, like what Dr. Mani is talking about. Using a heart rate monitor can be very helpful, but I always love to teach people just even about rate of perceived exertion. So whenever your body is getting into that 80% maximum heart rate, that is when your body becomes almost impossible, very uncomfortable to breathe in and out through your nose. Your body is getting into that anaerobic zone. And so your body is needing more oxygen uptake. And so you'll be able to perceive on that 1 to 10 scale, of 1 being you're lying in bed asleep, 10 being maybe you are running as hard as you can up a mountain. You want to get to that 8, where we're not necessarily going to drop over, but we're really uncomfortable and it's hard to have a conversation. You're having to breathe in and out of your mouth. So doing that for 3 minutes, 3 times a day. Is that what you were saying?
Yes. And that shouldn't be tough. It's all about, I think it's all about the mindset game. If you think and decide and are regimented, you can totally do that, right? I mean, there's no finding excuse to that. You can do it right from your home, And I tell, if you, in your exercise regime, if you have some kind of pushing, pulling, leg exercise, and some aerobics, so that's all. I mean, you need to have those 4 kind of actions or movement in your protocol to make it full exercise protocol: pulling, pushing, leg exercise, and aerobics. So even if you're at home, just do a few bench press for pulling and pushing action, do air squats for your leg exercise, and do some jumping jacks for your aerobics. And that kind of just completes your protocol, So it should not be tough. It's just about telling your mind to go ahead and do it,
Yeah, having some mental toughness, right? I think that when we do this type of exercise, it not only strengthens our body, but we do strengthen our mind as well. We become more disciplined and stronger and able to, adapt better. So I love this. This is so interesting and So fun. And I want to make sure, because I know time is kind of running out for us a little bit. What are some of the other? We know nutrition, obviously. That's key. I'm right there with you. Number one thing that's going to have an effect on the way that we age. Exercise, very much. Taking care of our hormone health. I think exercise and nutrition play a big part in that as well. What are some of the other key factors that you would you want to make sure our audience hears before we have to say goodbye?
Okay. So thinking about that restricted time, I would just like to include two more, your sleep and then the supplements, because supplements are the low-hanging fruits that you can actually easily include in your lifestyle. And you just need to know what is good for you, where it's coming from you, is the source right, how much you're consuming, and you should be testing before and you should be testing after taking supplements to make sure that you are not crossing that toxicity level. You're not overdoing it, right? So let's talk about supplements first, and then we'll just touch a little bit about sleep.
I love that.
If supplements, very, very important is micronutrients. We all the time think about our macronutrients, carbohydrate, lipids, fat, and protein. But everybody knows about it that, okay, we should be focusing more on protein, less sugar. We all know about it. But it's the micronutrients that's basically a problem in developed countries, especially, that we are not having enough micronutrients. So there are because it's an understudied, underlooked kind of a topic. We don't talk about it much, but it is very, very important. And I'll just touch very slightly in a brief that why those micronutrients. So what are micronutrients? Micronutrients are vitamins, they are minerals, they are fatty acids, they are amino acids. These four things actually together makes the category of micronutrients. There are tons and tons of micronutrients, but among them, 30 to 40 of those micronutrients are called essential micronutrients. That it is utmost necessary for us to consume them from food, from our nutrition. But, because of so many, pesticide spray, and because of our gut sensitivity, because of our inadequate nutritional choices, sometimes you're not able to meet those needs,
right.
So we're not able to consume those. And, and what are these micronutrients? The important ones that I'll talk about is vitamin D and magnesium and omega-3 fatty acids. These are the three most important micronutrients needed. Vitamin D, 70% of us in the United States are deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because we are not in sun that much. We are sitting in front of our computers and gadgets and iPads and phones all the time. And we are not working out, just like how human used to be, farming, agriculture, this and that, as at the time of our, 100 years ago, when our ancestors used to do that so much. Right. And they never had increased risk of cancer. So they never had that much risk of Alzheimer's and all that. But now our all-cause mortality is much higher because of deficient level of vitamin D. And what is deficient level? Is 30. If your level is less than 30, that means you have insufficient vitamin D. So just basically go take a pill, but always check for the source, So take a pill around 4,000 international unit is the safer, higher side of vitamin D in order to avoid the toxicity. But definitely there are some patients who've been taking that for 6 months, then I tell them to go ahead and check their lab test and see if their vitamin D is pretty optimal now, then they should cut it back to 1,000 international unit. They don't even need 4,000. That was at the time when I started them on 4,000 international unit. So vitamin D, very important for neurotransmitters, for hormones formation, and also for your immunity, for immune cell formation.
Yep.
Second is the magnesium, which is an important cofactor for so many enzymatic activity. Magnesium is utmost important for enzymes. And there are so many enzymes which actually lets our body function. The whole body is functioning, cells are dividing, DNA formation, DNA synthesis, DNA repair, detoxification, all that cellular functioning is basically depending on these enzymes. And enzymes are depending on magnesium. So we need to make sure that we have good source of magnesium in our diet. And what are the good source of magnesium? Because magnesium is right in the center of the chlorophyll molecules. So basically dark green leafy vegetables are a good source of magnesium. And, nowadays we don't consume that much. So it's important to basically go ahead and take a supplement of magnesium. Very, very important. Also, almonds and dark chocolate are a good source of magnesium. And then
I love those sources.
those sources are really doable, right? Yes, yes. And then the last one that I wanted to not miss here is omega-3 fatty acids. So important because, again, understudied and overlooked kind of topic, but it is very important to have your omega-3 rich source from food, especially from marine sources, because two types of omega-3, EPA and DHA, very, very important for heart health and brain health. So make sure that you're having enough marine sources of food, especially the fish, not big fish like halibut or swordfish, but from the small fishes like sardine and salmon you can consume, So in USA and United States, we have most of us are around 4 or 5% omega-3 index, while the optimal level should be around 8% of omega-3 index. If you ever compare the population in Japan, they are around 10 to 12%, way above, even more optimized, because mostly their source of food is marine source, right? So we need to make sure that we are eating good source of marine fish and all that, and plus also, take supplement of 1.5 to 2 grams of omega-3 fatty acid daily in your supplements, because omega-3 is needed to hunker down the inflammation and also to control cholesterol and triglycerides. So those three are the most. There are many other supplements, but these three are in my top, very, very top shelf. The basic supplements that everybody needs.
Seems like it, yeah.
Right. It's necessary. And then last one is sleep. Sleep is non-negotiable. It is utmost important for your recovery. Whole day you're working, walking, thinking, critical thinking, doing the work. There are tremendous amount of activities that you're doing in a day. Even without a thought, you're constantly doing something. Even when you are basically thinking and just trying to even memorizing or doing anything, all the time your cells are functioning. And you need to give rest to your cells during night, during the time of deep sleep, when your brain recovers, when your brain actually detoxify during deep sleep of all those beta amyloid proteins, which actually are the main cause of Alzheimer's. So your lymphatic system is your detoxification system in your brain, and that works during the time of sleep. So you need to have 7 to 8 hours of optimized sleep. Not only think that, okay, I was on the bed for 7 to 8 hours. It's not that being on the bed is a good quality sleep. The good quality sleep is when you have pretty good deep sleep and you have pretty good REM sleep. That's what makes it a good quality sleep. And it's just utmost necessary. So that's why I tell people, okay, just think about and this is all in your own hand and in your own control. Don't indulge into alcohol. Don't take your coffee after 2 to 3 p.m. Finish your last meal of the day 2 hours before food. No exposure to blue light after 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. All those are the factors which helps you to improve and optimize your sleep.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And I will admit that there were decades when I did not prioritize my sleep. And now it is something that everybody knows about me, is that this is a huge priority for me. I do all of the things now to make sure that I'm optimizing that time while I'm asleep. And I can tell you, women, that it has made the biggest difference in how I function and how I feel and how healthy my immune system is and how balanced my hormones are. And, everything that we're striving for, sleep has been key. As with all of these other things that we should be thinking about that Dr. Mani has shared with us, these are all powerful tools. And I know sometimes they can seem simplistic. You hear about them often, but when you hear about how it all works together, it makes a lot of sense. And of course, there are other things that we can do as well. Dr. Mani has written an incredible book. I want you to share a little bit about your book and how the women that are listening today, how they can go and learn even more from you, because it's been fascinating and fun to listen to you. You have a gift for sharing information in a very digestible way. It's been fascinating. So tell us a little bit about your book.
First of all, thank you, Cody, so much for having me on this platform and sharing all this. We could talk more and more, but
Yes.
these are some of the basic things that we could do. My book is all about living and aging biooptimally. It's a health optimization tool or guide from wellness perspective, not from medical perspective, because that's all quite symptomatic approach. This is all wellness approach. So this book is basically going to be launched in next 2 months. We are kind of just touching on the final tuning of the book. So it'll be launching soon in 2 months. That's what my expectation is. And people, whoever is listening to us, they can find me on my website called livagewell.net, livagewell.net, and my Instagram, where I'm very active, where I talk a lot about biohacking and health optimization, lifestyle, and then all the influencer stuff. And my Instagram is small d small r _ money MANI.KUKREJA, or you can always email me if you have any need to chat with me or ask me anything. Yes.
I know that the women that are listening today are going to want to stay in touch with you and connect with you. And so I love that you have this book that's going to be coming out that's going to be such an incredible wealth of knowledge to help empower people with their own health and aging. But I also love that you offer virtual, appointments to work with people, because I know that a lot of women write to me often wanting to know who I would recommend that they work with. And I think that it's incredible that we now have so many beautiful and people that listen to you, these practitioners that are out there, these doctors, these healthcare providers that now are, available for us through technology. And we can have virtual meetings with them as well. I will put all of the ways that you can connect with Dr. Mani in our show notes. So make sure that you go to the show notes and read more about her and follow the links. They will lead you to her Instagram and to her website and to her email as well. So anything else that you want to share with the audience before we finally say goodbye?
No, it's all what we discussed, and these are basic things. And then when it comes to advanced things, it'll be all available on my book and my notes.
That's great. I love it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Okay.
Thank you for being on. All right, ladies, until next time, I hope you have a very happy and healthy week. And if you felt like this episode was helpful for you, please share it with the women in your life, because sharing is caring. We'll talk soon. Bye.